It's good.
Well, thank you. Good to meet you.
Likewise. This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM, and we're very honored to have Noll of Noll and the Rockin Souls with us on WZRD via Zoom. Greetings, Win. How are you?
Greetings. I'm doing well this morning. How are you?
Very, very well. Thank you.
Good.
So we've listened to a lot of your tracks on YouTube, and it's a beautiful sound. How did Noll and the Rockin Souls come to define their sound?
You know, I have to say it was a natural evolution. Everyone has a very strong foundation in blues. My band, they're all veteran players, minus myself. I, on the other hand, by comparison, I'm a relative newcomer. And so I've been taking in, blues for the last 5 to 7 years, and I've turned into a blues zealot. And so you combine their amazing abilities with my zeal and my newness for interpreting material. You've got our current sound, honestly.
So what influenced you to interpret your material the way that you do?
Oh my gosh, everything that, the blues masters have given, that's certainly influence with it coming through you, you're interpreting it yourself, putting your own spin on it, your story. Mm-hmm. The blues is universal. Everyone can relate. Everyone has the blues, and everyone, needs to get through it. And so we can all relate.
Mm-hmm. You also have a mentor, and she's a virtual blues legend, Mary Lane. So how did you come to be mentored by her, and how much of her is in you, would you say?
Well, first of all, I'll say Miss Mary is a Sagittarius woman. She's a fire sign, and so am I. And she was at a blues jam. Do I still have you? Okay. She was at a blues jam at Rosa's. And Rosa's has been very supportive in the process of bringing along new artists, and Mary was hosting it. And toward the end of the evening, I hadn't met Mary yet. I got up and I did a few numbers, and she was remarkably supportive, and we've been friends ever since. So yeah, that was our meeting, and it started from that point, like 5 years ago at Rosa's on a jam night. So there are always amazing things happening on jam nights.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's I think that's where we saw one of your videos. It's really, really beautiful sounds. When you how I know that you and Mary Lane are friends, and that maybe you learn from her a little bit, but how does she mentor you?
She mentors with really basic advice in this business. When to hold it, when to fold it, when to go for it, when to pull back, what's correct, what isn't correct. She's no nonsense. She's got a ton of wisdom, and she offers it freely. And she's a really straight shooter. And so I really appreciate that. She also works with one of my band members, Noll. And so it really somehow expedited, I think, our friendship, just being sort of in the same surrounding with the same people. So
mm-hmm. With all the advice that you mentioned, does that pertain to voice, how to use your voice, or does it pertain to business, or to both?
I would say more business, definitely more of the business. Yeah, the one thing she's always told me is, obviously don't try to imitate anyone else. You have to just do you. And she observed that was my approach from the very beginning, and she appreciated that and encouraged that. You have to put your own spin on things. You can't go out mimicking anyone, that it has to be you. I was very happy to hear that, because I wouldn't have been successful at that anyhow. So that was also a part of her advice.
Did she say anything that is special about your sound that differentiates you from other singers or bands?
You know what? The compliment I have received from Mary is that I'm all in, I'm passionate, and I go for it. You know, sometimes to my detriment, and sometimes just trying to deliver the emotional content because I'm passionate and I really feel it. And so she appreciates that I'm all in.
So what did you mean by to your detriment? Does your belting hurt your voice, or is it that you reveal a little bit too much with the stories?
Oh, that's a really good question. Every now and then, if I'm feeling it, I will certainly sacrifice my chords for a moment to convey emotional content and what I'm feeling. That's really important to me. I am classically trained, and so my professor, I know, is not very happy at times, but thankfully my chords are resilient and I tend to bounce back. And I try not to engage in abuse too often, but there are a few times when you're belting it out and you know, oh, that was interesting. Okay, I'll be quiet for the next 2 days, you know, no more of that. But yeah, there are times when it's a bit of a sacrifice for the emotional content.
Yes, because that was what struck me about you, because I also took voice, and my professor was kind of warning us to just try not to belt. But you belt so well, and you keep belting. So now we know you have to rest 2 days after all that.
Thank you. I definitely give it a rest for sure. I don't do that every day when I'm vocalizing. No way. No.
Is there any way that when you're belting that you could still protect your vocal cords somehow? Were you able to find a sweet spot or a fine line for that?
Absolutely. I think that there is a sweet spot. And it's only rarely that, you know, you're slipping over into a space where you're exhausted and you're doing something that, you know, okay, perhaps, you know, today was too far. But honestly, it's like being an athlete. You have to assess, you know, and weigh the benefits and the downfalls and just take it from there. I honestly don't put that much thought into it. When I hit the stage, that's it. It's on, and I'm there to give you what I've got, and it's going to happen because I'm a storyteller first. So you have to know my story.
And also, you're speaking with me now. You have a very strong voice, and did you have such a strong voice before you started your vocal training, or did the vocal training help build this strong voice of yours?
You know, thank you. I think, yes, my speaking voice was always there. I've worked in theater, and, you know, I've been asked to do several, you know, narrations and come and read children's books for classroom times. So that's also been a part of, you know, my art and sharing, using my voice, you know, to sing and to speak. So it's always been there. Yes.
Where did you train, and how long ago?
I trained several years ago with Dr. Ron Combs at Northeastern University.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're the second artist that mentioned that you trained with him.
Yeah, he's pretty fantastic. He did things, he prepared me. I had no idea I'd end up singing blues, and I'm so thankful for all the lower registered he helped me develop. I understand there's a balance, you know. But often I thought, why are we wasting time going just down into the lowest register? And I thank God it's developed now and I can use it. So I have him to thank for that.
And what were you singing in his classes? Was it opera? Because I wanted to take the classes in voice, but I just didn't have enough time for that at Northeastern.
You know, I did tons of scene studies with him at Northeastern. I studied privately with him as well, you know, to prepare me for different productions. But the scene study was just so beneficial. I'm so thankful for each scene study class I participated in. It just prepared me. And there were a few other classes also that really helped me with the whole auditioning process. So I hope
And
that.
so
ahead.
by scene study, you mean, because I haven't taken these classes, does that mean what you do when you're performing one scene?
Exactly. You know, there are several members of the class, and you'll take one scene from a production, and say they're going to be 5 different scenes presented. He did it so beautifully. He would come out and he would absolutely put you in time and space. It was all done in English, and he really pulled the audience in. And so you just get a glimpse. You don't have to sit through 3 hours of something in a different language, which for some people is challenging. Let's face it. But he had a beautiful way of not only teaching, but pulling in the audience.
So I guess that he taught the students and your classmates how every character fits in, like the little piece of the puzzle that the heart of the puzzle that matters for every character.
That's right. He taught the students that, and also and the audience.
And what about the vocal training? Did you train vocally with him?
I did.
You did.
I did.
Yeah, yes, because
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
He's my only voice teacher. So yes, years.
So I guess he taught you how to project while singing, and then also in just speaking too.
Yes.
Right? Got it.
Being supported with the breath and your diaphragm, everything being engaged and good support.
Yes. How did you meet your band members? How did the whole band form?
Oh, well, now let me give you the condensed version of that. Let's see, the very first band member, I was playing with a band called Buddha Blue, and that band was slowly coming to an end. And let's see, Stephen Bass came and played drums. He's really responsible, Stephen Bass, and then he brought in Noll, and Noll and Wabi, had known each other for many years and had been playing together. And Stephen and Shoji were in the Eddie Clearwater band together. So that worked out beautifully. Okay. See, I can't lose you here. Okay. And Mike Flynn, brother of Billy Flynn, is our bass player. He came in, and the rest is sort of history.
Well, then, how did they find you? What was it about you that made you the perfect vocalist to perform with them?
I think I found them, honestly. I found them because one band was dissolving and I was still getting requests to do gigs. And so I had to quickly come up with another name and keep it moving. And so I was in need as a new person, in this genre, and they're all blues veterans, thank God. So I learned so much quickly, and they're very supportive.
So did Mary Lane help you at all in connecting and networking?
Yes, she definitely does that. She always invites me out. Yes, Mary is wonderful about that. And now vice versa, I can say, please, can you come to my gig, Mary? You've got to come. You're going to make it so special. So I'm happy to be able to extend that in kind now.
Isn't she going to be singing with you in the near future for one of your gigs?
Yes, she is performing with me in an upcoming gig. During the Blues Fest week, she's going to be honored. Mary Lane will be everywhere at Blues Fest, so make sure you come out. She will be performing with us the Sunday night at Epiphany of Blues Fest weekend. So I hope we can get everyone out. That's Sunday night. Mary Lane and I and the band. Her husband Jeffrey will be sitting in with us, and it's going to be a fantastic night. I think that I'll be doing a little interview so that everyone can really understand and appreciate, what Mary brings to the table. So it'll be a wonderful night.
And so that means that on stage, you will be interviewing Mary Lane before the performance.
Or we'll do something in between sets.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do you have the address on hand? We were just there. I think it's 201 South Ashland Avenue, something like that, right?
Yes, I think that is correct. I will pull it up, but I think that's correct.
There's a Epiphany Center for the Arts. It's so beautiful there. It was a church, and
oh, excuse me. I'm so excited. I haven't been there. I've only seen it online, but I am just thrilled. I've heard that the acoustics are amazing and the vibe is amazing. It's a beautiful place. So I'm really excited.
Do you know which room you'll be in?
I am not sure.
Because we were at the top one, at the very top. I forgot what floor, but it was like the top one with the amazing apex ceiling, etc. So
you see, yeah. I haven't been there, so I can't wait to see.
Yeah, you really enjoy it. It's such a beautiful venue, and then the artist is featured very, very. It flatters the artist, and it all blends in so beautifully. Yeah, it's a perfect venue.
Oh, you're just getting me amped up. I'm so excited. Okay, right.
Also, the Blues Fest festival dates. Could you also share that with the audience? We'll repeat later, but since we're on the subject now, it bears repeating later.
It does. We'll be there opening day. We'll be there on Thursday. I think it's June 9th, and we'll be at the Rosa's tent. And that's the first day it opens, and we're really excited. We have an early slot, so get there early, and we'll be passing out tons of flyers for upcoming performances. So we'll be there Blues Fest week, Thursday, Rosa's tent.
Did you say June 9th, right? That's
yes.
Okay. For your album, Noll and Rockin Souls, we played that album before the interview, and it has 5 songs. And is this your first album?
Yes, this is our first album as Noll and the Rockin Souls.
And what about the Drinking Buddy? That's the first song. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I'm a songwriter, and Drinking Buddy came directly from the pages of my journal, and it's the first original we're releasing, and it's a little different. I originally wrote it as a country tune, because it just came to me that way, and I wrote it that way. And honestly, I realized it was a little bit of a Debbie Downer, because it talks about the hazards of a drinking buddy going too far. And, I took it to Monroe, and we really decided, let's make this a little bit more festive and bring in the humor instead of making it a Debbie Downer. And so we did that and recorded it.
Were you thinking about one specific drinking buddy, or were you thinking about a couple?
I was thinking about one specific drinking buddy that shall remain nameless right now, but it was from my own experience, and how something that's so innocent and fun can turn not so fun, and it needs to be, stopped. You can no longer support, your Friday night, TGIF little sessions. It's done. Like, nope, we've got to stop this. So it is from experience.
What about your other songs? How did they come about?
The other 4 tunes that we chose?
Yes.
They were just, I just love them. Some of them were, a few were fan favorites, but That's All Right. That song, as you probably know, is inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame. And I was possessed by that tune. I had to sing it from my perspective, and I thought a female perspective, and just put my own spin on it. So,
so when you first heard it, did you feel that you could do a twist on it, and then you finally did, or
yes, yes, I started slowly. I brought it in and said, we're adding a new one. And I had to slowly work because I knew vocally exactly what needed to be accomplished to convey, once again, the emotional content and what I wanted to do. And that took me a minute, especially when we went to the studio with it. It was during the pandemic, and I was really emotional, and sometimes it wasn't falling right into the pocket. And another take, let's try this again, because it's pretty emotional. It was a rough time for me. So, yeah, I think that answers the question and goes beyond, as I normally do.
So how did the pandemic affect you when you did this during the pandemic? Was it at some studio where you could like socially distance, or you just had to make sure that everyone was vaccinated? Could you give us a little insight on that, if you can?
I can. I think from the onset, we were all, first of all, in a bit of a panic, and it just progressed from just trying to finagle situations and environments and to stay safe. If we were going to try a rehearsal to, socially distance, we created, an entire booth for me so that I wasn't potentially a super spreader. We did everything we possibly could to stay safe. And then at times that meant not coming together. And that, I have to say, was the most difficult part for me. I'm so connected, especially to my band, and not being able to come together and make music it's a very sad time for me. So, but we were always looking at ways to finagle. What can we do here? Okay, well, maybe we'll go outside. Is it warm enough yet? Can we, any way we could, but safely, of course.
And I guess you weren't able to do like different parts and then put them together. It's very, very hard to do that, right?
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand. Say that.
You weren't able to have the different band members do individual parts and then have them put together in the studio. That's so hard to do.
No, we couldn't do that. And so we waited a bit. No, we did, though, in the beginning of the pandemic, we did a live stream, and Shoji helped us. He really engineered that. And so from our individual locations, we did an Eddie Clearwater song, Find Yourself. And Rosa's kept going with live streams. And so that was great. And I think it really, sort of shaped their current identity now in terms of being the live stream venue. So we did I think you spoke about that. We did a live stream during that time with them. So everyone was getting creative and doing whatever they could. It brought about such unique circumstances for everyone and outcomes. So
it probably brought a lot of people together, right? That wouldn't have come together if it weren't for the pandemic.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think music was born during that time that wouldn't have come forth, had we not experienced such trying times. So.
What else happened during the pandemic? How did you sustain your art during the pandemic?
A lot of individual work. And for me, a lot of brainstorming. How can we do this? How can we get together? But individually, yeah, you just had to keep going and hope and pray even the next month there would be something new that would allow us to come together, some circumstance, so it was a challenging time, but we were all getting creative and trying very hard to come together and working hard individually as well.
Did you get any money from the government through those artist grants that they were trying to put together? And I think artists were trying to put that together too.
They were. I can't speak. We didn't. Our band didn't, but I'm sure that there was quite a bit available for other bands. At least I hope so, but no, not for us.
Mhm. What do you think you would have done differently during the pandemic if there was anything?
Excuse me. That's a good question. You know, I can't fault us. I think we've all done the very best that we could. And like I said, I'm such a blues zealot. I had to keep it moving. And I always conveyed that I was always pressing forward, and so was everyone else. So no, I'm proud of us. I think we did exactly what we needed to do, you know, with safety in mind and keeping our creativity going. I think we did everything we could have possibly done. So I have no regrets.
Was there any networking between you and promoters or or maybe other venues too during the pandemic?
Yes, I have to say everyone, all promoters and venues, they were trying. Everyone, you know, it's like, okay, we've got to shut down for a month. Everyone kept trying with, you know, Buddy Guys, Johnny's Blitz in Westmont, Rosa's with live stream. I saw a tremendous effort, you know, to keep the music alive, but to stay safe.
Mhm.
So yes, that did happen.
Could you lower your camera just a little bit?
Oh, okay, there we go.
And through the course of the pandemic, did you find that your music changed along the way?
Yes. Yes.
Also.
You know, we're on the other side now, but I think during the pandemic, we were experiencing life and death, literal life and death, and so many unknowns. I mean, so many of us, me personally, we lost, you know, dear loved ones. And I just think it really just lit a fire under me to say, it's really, tomorrow isn't promised. So think about how you're spending your time. What would you like to get done? And I just, from a philosophical standpoint, it definitely changed me. It's get it done. And I think that's what we're doing.
Mhm. Mhm. So that means that when you see the opportunity, you work very hard to grasp at it because you understand how special it is, better than before.
I really do. I work hard to finish my music and to get it out, and I don't scrutinize it the way I did. I'm really quite critical of my own work and overthink things. A little bit of a perfectionist. And now I really just trust my instinct and my gut more about a message that I want to bring forth. And I do it, and I'm finishing tunes, and that's really important. So I'm really happy about that. That's one of the blessings that came from the pandemic. So with all the hardship.
Mhm. What part of Chicago are you from, and did your neighborhood affect how you affect your music?
I can't really say. I think on the North Shore, we have a music scene here that is thriving, and everyone loves live music. So I'm really happy for that. The Highland Park, Highwood community, especially Highwood community, thriving music scene, jams and all sorts of shows, especially during the summer, and concerts in the park. So it's supportive. It's a supportive, creative environment.
You're in a better position to know all about this. Are there more concerts in the park now because of the pandemic?
I think yes. I think definitely it's right. It's a natural cure, you know, to getting us in a safer space. So why should we, especially when the weather is warm, why not? So yes, I definitely think we're seeing more concerts in the park.
Do you see if parks do anything to have a plan B for if it rains? Do they have like little shelters that are outdoors now more?
That's a good question. I can't say I've observed that more, not necessarily in my neighborhood, but I'm sure that's being observed in other neighborhoods. I'm pretty sure that's been incorporated in the scheme.
Have you ever encountered a situation in which you were playing outside and then it started to rain, and then what happened after that?
It started to rain and the show was canceled.
Oh,
that's what I experienced. I've had a few scenarios where you try to wait it out, but ultimately the promoter has to decide for safety issues. Is there lightning? What's happening? You have to keep everyone safe. And so my experience has been cancellation.
And then was it rescheduled?
No, some of the events have not been rescheduled. So we'll see what happens in the future, but that's been, my experience thus far.
Is there any specific reason why now is the time to release Noll and the Rockin Souls?
Absolutely. It is happening right now. We're exactly where we should be in time and space and creativity. And it's real and it's ours, and it's an authentic moment in time and space for us. And we're bringing forth really good stuff that I'm so excited about. So yes, because it's happening right now. So yes, that's exactly why, we're bringing it forth. So we
usually do a community assessment with our interview guests. So because the WZRD Chicago, being a nonprofit radio station, must be responsible to the audience and community that we serve. WZRD is mandated to file quarterly issues with the FCC on non-entertainment, community-focused programming. And we like to assess the community for quarterly issue topics with 3 questions. First, what is most important to you? It doesn't really have to be your music business. It could be, what is most important to you in your life. But of course, if your music is the most important to you, then what about your music is the most important to you?
It's all about communication. It's all about connecting, communication and connecting. I am you, you are me, and us feeling that oneness, that we really are no different. We are a part of the human family. So music, yes.
And was this so strong the case before the pandemic, if you don't mind my asking?
Yes, I have always felt that way and been an advocate, and I've been motivated from that place of one love, that I love my neighbors. I don't care what race you are. I love everyone, and I want that to come through in my music.
Do you have
and
time?
So do the Rockin Souls. They feel the same way, yes.
Do you have any time for community activism, the busy as you are?
Community activism. I do my share with helping stray animals, I will say. I do my share with cleanup in the neighborhood, but beyond that, perhaps I could step that up a bit. But I am definitely an advocate for cats and trying to make sure every cat has a home. So that's a really good question. Well, cats and community cleanup.
Well, those are important issues. Somebody has to do it, and yeah,
it's very true.
If more people were to do it, that would be very good.
Okay, well, perhaps I can find a little kitty for you. We'll talk afterwards. Sure. I have one for you.
A second question is, what long-term problem must we address?
Oh, interesting. I think for me, watching what's happened in the last 2 to 3 years, race relations, and also making sure things don't rollback for women, making sure that we're all treated in a fair and equitable way. I actually just wrote a song about some of the challenges we're facing. I think race relations and making sure women have equal rights and we don't have our rights taken without getting too political. That's really on my mind right now.
Well, you do write your own songs, and did Mary Lane give you any advice about writing your own songs?
You know, Mary writes herself and she writes beautifully, and it's just about telling your story. It's yours. That's what makes us so, you know, uniquely ourselves, our story. We don't need to tell anyone else's unless, of course, you have a story that moves you and you're interpreting for someone else, but our story, do you. And that's great advice because we all have very unique stories to tell.
Right. And the third question for the community assessment is, what problem must be resolved now?
I think the problems we spoke about from the previous two questions, really seeing things fair and equitable for everyone.
Well, could you repeat for the audience all your upcoming gigs and dates, and then if necessary, we'll add in the addresses too. We're
definitely going to add in addresses because it's been just a bit of a hurry, but we are at Rosa's the Thursday opening for Blues Fest. We are, you have to definitely go to the website. We're at Epiphany, that's Sunday, 7:30 show time. And we have shows in between. I'm blanking right now, but we have, I think Greentown on the Rocks in Waukegan, Friday night. So check us out on Facebook and our website. I'm posting everything, but we've got a really busy string of days. So if you're not at the Blues Fest, you can catch us up north. You can catch us downtown.
What is the name of your Facebook page? And also, please give our listeners your website.
Just you can go to Noll and the Rockin Souls.com and Facebook the same thing. You'll pull us up. Once you type in Noll and the Rockin Souls, it'll all start coming at you.
Okay. And and is let me see. And yes, and is the word spelled out A-N-D.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Rockin, R-O-C-K-I-N, or Rockin Souls. Noll, W-I-N-N-O-L-L.
Oh, I think I missed one question that I really wanted to ask you. Did you apply any cultural, let's see, any of your own cultural material into your songs and music?
I think being American, being female, being mixed race, I think, yes, everything that you are comes out in your music. So yes, all that I am, female for sure. Everything we spoke about regarding the changes we want to see. So,
okay. So there wasn't like any maybe specific cultural, American culture, of course, is important, but there's no other culture that you kind of added material to your work.
I mean, we know that, the African-American community brought forth the blues. It's born out of struggle. And so that is definitely a part of my background and what I take from and seeing the struggles. That's America's music. That's my music. It's everyone's music. So I think that there's a direct connection there for me.
Well, with Noll and the Rockin Souls, we hope that good luck to you in all your future work and the connection that you're making with your audiences and that shedding light on the struggle and making people appreciate the struggle and to us working together.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed this thoroughly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Be safe.
be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye bye, Winnow.